Meet our free US bookkeeping course brought to you by the Borderless Accountants. We are inviting you to join our community. Live training, reputable tax firms as resource speakers, recorded, replayable at higit sa lahat, libre. To join, like and follow our official Facebook page, join our Facebook group for important updates, and fill out our Google form to be included in our mailing list. See you there!
Right. So just before we start, let me remind everybody that tomorrow we will have a special guest at 8 in the evening. Si Nima. Again, he's from San Diego in California, and he's joining us. He's gonna present what his company is about, Revaya. He's also in LinkedIn if you guys want to follow him. He's a recruiter and he's got firm in the Philippines as well. And they've been wanting to expand their recruitment to accounting and tax. And he's been really wanting to do that for the longest time. But there's been, like what I always say, or what I have been saying, there is a shortage of talented accountants and tax preparers in the US, right? So, and even in the Philippines, again, because the the shortage in the Philippines is causing shortage in the shortage in the US is causing shortage in the Philippines. So, yung mga talented na accountants, mga tax preparers, they're already employed, right? So they're no longer looking for a new job, or if they're looking for a higher rate, right? Because they already are experienced. So what does that mean for you is that if you have not been or if you're looking to practice either US accounting or US tax, and it's for you to get to the industry, syempre, bababaan mo muna yung rate mo, right? Just so you get to enter and, you know, earn the experience. And from there, a year or two, you know, once you already establish your credentials, your qualifications, and your experience, doon na mag-grow yung, you know, yung rate mo. So, or your rate natin. So, having said that, I hope you guys don't miss that tomorrow 8 p.m. And it would be nice if you can ask him really good questions, right? Like possibly how can you possibly get into the industry without an experience? Does Revaya consider hiring someone with no experience, for example? Or how to conduct yourself in an interview, right? Because he's interviewed a lot of people, right? So he's very experienced in that area. And you may want to hear it straight from someone who's done interviews for so many times and for so long, so you can get, you know, a really good idea. And I don't know why it is happening right now. Okay, there we go. So you're good with that? Again, that's 8 p.m. tomorrow, Philippine time. So we can still meet at 7, right? And then discuss or, you know, proceed with a class or with a session, and then we'll end at 8. All right. Anyone who wants to ask a question, nag-pray na ba kayo? Has anybody already initiated a prayer? And let me just check if this is recording. This meeting is being recorded. Yeah. All right, nag-pray na kayo, sabi ni Ana. Okay na daw. Good. So having said that, we can now go and start with our session for today. Let me just share my screen. And you guys can can see my screen, correct? Oh, what is wrong? Okay. All right. So let me just go to training. And yesterday we were able to cover extensively the accounting assumptions, right? And there we learned yesterday that there were 4 more accounting assumptions. And who can recall what those are, the remaining four that we covered yesterday? Let me see if I can see the chat. Yeah, just type it in the chat. Kelly, you are co-host in this session, right? Let me check.
Me, sir.
Oh, make a co-host. Oh, no, sorry. Right, so I just make you co-host again. So we covered yesterday materiality, consistency, monetary assumption, as well as going concern. Here's my screen. There we go. So still we are doing bookkeeping basics. If I hit continue, it should lead us to where we left off yesterday. Any new joiner today? You guys? Any new joiner? Wala. Lahat ay lahat ay repeaters ba ang tawag? Or lahat ay nakapag-join na in the previous sessions? Alrighty. So what we have covered so far are the following. Yung nakatik marks, so the introduction, the um, topic on what is bookkeeping, and then accounting basics. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, just 1 sec. So we've covered all these that are already checked. And for the bookkeeping basics, as you can see, the remaining topic that we're going to be covering is the accounting cycle. So there are how many steps na in accounting cycle? 6 na lang, no? Back in my days, nine steps in accounting cycle. Right. And then we'll have after that summary on the bookkeeping basics and then practice example. Right. So now let's resume. You guys good? Still okay? Right, let's start. All right, ako na muna mag-start na. The accounting cycle is a reliable process to make sure financial statements are accurate and consistent. It begins with analyzing the accounting events of a business and ends with producing financial reports for a given period. By using this process, you'll make sure you stay organized and don't miss any important details. So again, we always end up with financial reports. Again, the financial statements. Yan yung pinaka-final product natin bilang bookkeepers. So what are the 6 accounting cycle? First is you collect and analyze the transactions. Second step is the recording and posting of transactions. Third is the preparation of the unadjusted trial balance. And then fourth is the preparation of adjusting entries. Then followed by the preparation of adjusted trial balance. And 6 is the preparation of the financial statements, right? So you started with collection of the and analyzing the transactions, you end up with the preparation of financial statements. For those na walang accounting background, the terminologies may be too daunting for you, would be overwhelming. Again, it's okay, right? We're gonna break those down as best as we could as we go along. So yung trial balance, adjusting entries, unadjusted or adjusted trial balance, those could mean, or this could be, this could sound too intimidating for some of you. Then again, our goal, that is why we're studying together, is we're gonna break it down to the simplest form as possible, okay? So just hang in tight. Right. So again, just like every course that we take or every lesson that we take, there's glossary. Kayo na bahala mag-check ng glossary because there's going to be a lot of terminologies there. Now we're going to define what the accounting cycle is, the step-by-step process. So simply put, the accounting cycle is a journey from the beginning of a transaction to its inclusion in the financial statement. Let's play this video. Or wait, I think I need to reshare because I'm not sure if I'm sharing my audio. Give me 1 second. Let me reshare, that includes the audio. You guys can hear it?
Hi, I'm Daria. My job is to help clients stay informed about their business by providing accurate and current financial information. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the accounting cycle. The accounting cycle is a process that includes 6 steps that help ensure everything is done properly. It starts when a business makes a transaction and continues until the financial statements are produced at the end of an accounting period. By following these steps, I can generate accurate financial statements and close the books with confidence. Let's take a closer look. In the first step, I collect and analyze events to see if they are transactions that impact the business. Transactions can be things like business purchases, paying off debts, or earning revenue from sales. Then I gather the source documents that back up those transactions. I also review the client's chart of accounts, which is a list of the accounts the business uses for recording the transactions. The next step is to record and post all the important information about each transaction. I do this by recording journal entries. In double entry accounting, every transaction is recorded as both a debit and a credit in 2 or more subledger accounts. Once these journal entries are written and approved, I transfer them as summary entries or post them to the general ledger or GL. The general ledger is like a master record that summarizes all the financial transactions of the business. It contains all accounts and financial records necessary to prepare the financial statements. Then it's time for me to prepare the unadjusted trial balance. This happens at the end of each period. The recorded transactions are combined into a trial balance. This is the unadjusted trial balance, as it is prepared before making any adjusting entries. It provides an initial overview of financial information and helps me catch any mistakes made earlier in the accounting cycle. The unadjusted trial balance is considered accurate if the total debit account balances equal total credit account balances. Next, I prepare adjusting entries to make sure the financial statements are accurate. Usually, it's the job of a CPA or accountant to let me know which adjusting entries I need to make. Adjusting entries often include things like depreciation, which spreads out the cost of an item over its useful life, and accrual entries, which record future payments or expenses to the current period. Adjusting entries are like fine-tuning the financial statements to accurately reflect how the business is doing. They help ensure that the information included in the statements shows an accurate picture by making sure that revenue and expenses match up within the right accounting periods. After making the adjusting entries, it's time for me to prepare the adjusted trial balance. This is a list of the final balances in all accounts. It shows that all the changes and corrections have been accurately recorded and the accounts are in balance. In other words, everything has been properly updated and the financial records are accurate. Finally, I use the adjusted trial balance to prepare the financial statements. There are 4 main types of financial statements: the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of equity, and the statement of cash flows. Financial statements are used to analyze the business's performance, understand its cash flow, and evaluate its overall financial health. So that's the 6-step accounting cycle. By following these steps, I make sure I accurately record transactions, fix mistakes, and balance the books.
Alrighty. Question. How did that make you feel, guys? I want to hear it from those na walang accounting background and all and nandito. How did that make you feel after watching that video? How do you want to react to the video or what you've just heard or watched? Did that make you feel a little overwhelmed, surprised, or does that make you want to give up? Come on. Tell me. Type it in the chat. We want to hear it. We want to hear your reaction to that. What about those yung mga ano din, experience na? How did that make you feel? Joseph says you're surprised and want to learn more. Christina saying headache, overload, refresher for Mary Chris. Good. It's nice to know. Dennis says it's challenging. It is challenging. Ella is saying exciting. What about the others? How did that make you feel? Hearing all those things, like adjusting journal entry, that is, mainly for depreciation. At don't sabi doon, it's usually done by the CPA. Tapos, you have also heard about the 4 financial statements, right? Actually, kulang siya ng isa. Walang notes to financial statements kasi 5 na yan ngayon. Right? So, review from the past, excited, refreshing. All right, mixed emotions. So that's very understandable, right? It's okay to feel whatever you feel because, what we're doing is not something that is within our comfort zone, right? Especially for those mga wala pang background, right? So maybe a lot of you are uncomfortable because you're hearing the terminologies for the first time, but it's always the case, right? Whenever it's your first time, you always have like mixed emotions, and some could even be afraid, right? But it's normal, right? You feel different emotions. But the most important thing is we don't give up. Just because we feel so perplexed or so confused or so overwhelmed, we give up, right? That means giving up on our dream of earning dollars, like a lot of you said, right? You want to earn dollars, but wait, earning dollars is no joke. You also have to put your effort into it, right? Even for those who are already earning, right? The way we can earn more is we have to learn more, right? Because the more that we learn, the more that we are able to provide value to our clients, correct? So, all right, so just hang in there. Now, another question. I'm curious, why do you think it's called cycle? Why does it just say 6 accounting steps? Why did it have to say accounting cycle? Diba? Pwede naman siyang 9 steps of accounting from analyzing or collecting and analyzing data up until the production of financial statements. But why did it have to say cycle? Because there is a beginning and end. It's a process. Paulit-ulit po siya. Because it's a repetitive task. End-to-end, paulit-ulit. Okay, there's a circle of life. Parang kanta lang. Continuous, paulit-ulit, headache. All right, take alaksan. Repetitive task monthly. I like that. Juvi's, I think, hitting it right. Repetitive task monthly, right? So every month you analyze transactions and then you do all the other steps in between and then you produce financial statements, right? So there is a beginning and there is an end. So start ng month, you start collecting the transactions. At the end of the month, you produce the financial statement for that month, right? And then ulit na naman on, kunyari, January. So, na-complete mo yung cycle ng January, ulit ka na naman ng February, right? And ulit na naman ng March. It depends on the period, right? Kaya sabi dito, may narinig kayong period earlier. So, there's a counting period. So, depende na yan kung anong period yung ginagamit ng company, right, that you're working for. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, or it could also be annually, right? So may mga businesses na hindi naman nila need ng financial statements every month. They only need yearly, right? Kaya yung mga maliliit lang na mga businesses, pansin nyo pag nag-Upwork kayo or mga online jobs PH, nag-hire sila ng bookkeeper at the end of the year or start of the year, January, ganon. So, naghahabol sila ngayon ng recording ng kanilang transactions from January to December. Likely because konti lang yung transactions nila. Hindi nila kailangan mag-produce ng monthly financial statements, right? And usually they would also need that in preparation for tax, right? So alam niyo na yung tax prep happens or tax deadline for businesses happens every March 15, right? So yung mga walang bookkeeper na mga businesses, again, nag-hire yan sila. Nag-spike yung hiring ng bookkeeper, either catch-up bookkeeping or bookkeeping for the recently ended year. Nangyayari yan early in the year, early in the following year. Okay? So, kaya it's a good month, it's a good timing then for us to really learn now, right? Because it's preparing you to position yourself to, apply or get clients as early as maybe December, right? Merong mga clients na naghahanap na yan sila ng bookkeeper as early as December para early ng January, done na yung books nila. So done na yung books and then they can reach out to their tax accountant para ma-prepare na yung tax return nila on time. Right? So that's how it works. Kung ang gusto lang ng bookkeeper or ng business owner is kumbaga compliance, right? They want to produce their financial statements because they want to comply with the tax requirement, right? Kasi nga wala namang ipe-prepare na business return kung walang financial statements. Right? So that could be that. Or kung malaki yung business, right, and the owner would want to know the financial performance every single month, then that's when we need to do bookkeeping every month, right? And madalas yan, right? Madalas yan because a businessman would want to know the performance ng business niya month after month. You get what I'm saying? So, maganda nga yung isang kagandahan ng bookkeeping is that you can do a retainer arrangement, right? So every month, meron kang paniguradong income because every month kang nagre-reconcile ng books, every month kang nag-adjust, every month ka din nagpo-produce ng financial statements, right? So as opposed to a tax prep, di ba? Ang tax prep kasi isang beses lang mag-prepare ng tax return in a year, right? So while ang tax prep is more lucrative in terms of pay, mas malaki yung bigayan sa tax prep. However, in terms of security, hindi siya ganun ka-secured, right? Because may mga firms, what they do is nag-hire sila ng preparer only during the busy season, right? Tapos after the tax deadline, nagli-lay off na sila or hindi na sila wala na silang need for a tax preparer. But kung ikaw ay bookkeeper at saka slash tax preparer, may edge ka, right? Because the firm can actually hire you both as a bookkeeper and a tax preparer. So during the busy season, ang focus mo is tax preparation. But after nung tax deadline, you can transition to being a bookkeeper, right? So maraming mga accounting firms sa US, they do both accounting and tax, right? They do bookkeeping and tax. Sabayan sila kasi, especially kung ang firm ay owned by CPAs, right? Pero pag ang firm naman ay owned by an enrolled agent, for example, na purely tax prep lang yung ginagawa nila, hindi sila nagbo-bookkeeping, right? So kung kayo ay bookkeeper slash tax preparer, yung targeted nyo na employer, if you're looking for employment, is yung accounting firm, right? Na owned by a CPA. Kasi malamang sa malamang, meron yung bookkeeping and tax services, right? Are you able to follow so far? Hindi pa naman siya masyadong overwhelming. Okay, so again, it's a cycle because there's a start and a finish and it repeats every period, right? And again, what the period is depends on the requirement of the business. It could be monthly, it could be quarterly, and pinaka-common is yearly or annual, okay? So let's follow Maria, our bookkeeper, as she guides her client through the accounting cycle. So put yourself in the position of Maria. Right, this is the part where I will need your participation. So sige, sinong gustong mag-volunteer to read this part? Or yung buong journey na lang ni Maria. Okay? So para hindi nyo na kailangang i-mute and unmute yourself. Sinong gustong mag-volunteer? First one to raise his or her hand. All right, Maria Cristina, go ahead.
Maria is assisting a local bakery in preparing for financial statements. To accomplish this, she must go through each step of the accounting cycle. Let's explore the requirements for every step.
Tuloy-tuloy mo na.
Okay. Maria starts by collecting and analyzing the bakery's transactions and gathering supporting documents. She also gets a list of the business relevant accounts for recording transactions, called the chart of accounts. Listen to Maria as she shares her experience of starting the accounting cycle with her client.
When I first meet with a client, I use a checklist to guide our discussion about their business finances. We cover important questions like what are the different types of income generated by the products or services they sell. Additionally, what are the expenses that they pay on a regular basis? I'd also want to know how many checking accounts, credit card accounts, and loans they have. It may seem simple, but sometimes people forget to provide information on all their accounts or provide all of the bank statements. That's why I make sure to go through my checklist and verify all of the bank and credit card statements. I want to make sure I catch any easy-to-miss accounts, like reserve or savings accounts, that are also under the business. As a bookkeeper, I help my clients understand their finances. When I find mistakes in their books, I take on a teaching role. Since my clients aren't accounting experts, I approach these moments with care. I gently guide them to identify any overlooked information, ensuring accurate records without making them feel overwhelmed. Building trust is an essential part of the process.
Right. So sabi ni Maria, every time she meets with a client, especially if it's for the first time, she has a checklist, right? In our case, kung tayo yon, may narinig ko lang to sa inyo yung tinatawag na discovery call, right? In a discovery call, you're in an initial phase of closing a client for an engagement, right? So in that initial call, you have to have a checklist that you run through with the client to make sure that you understand the client situation. And also importantly is for you to be able to provide the right quotation, right? Nakakapag-quote kayo ng correct doon sa client kasi baka naman too high or too low yung magiging price nyo, right? So nabanggit earlier in the recorded audio that Maria asked for the number of bank accounts as well as credit card accounts, right? So most firms, they base their pricing on the number of accounts, right? So pag maraming bank accounts, like for example, how they do their pricing is parang by tier, right? So my basic, my intermediate, tapos my advanced na package, right? So kung kunyari basic lang, pag dalawa lang yung bank accounts ni business, pasok siya sa basic. So how much is basic? Let's say the basic package is like $100, right? Tapos pag sumobra na yung bank account ni client, sabihin natin na nasa 3 to 5, nasa intermediate na siya. So ang charge naman yan, mga 200. Tapos kapag more than 5, kasama na yung credit card statements, nasa advance na yon. So mga 300 or maybe even 500. Depends na yon kasi the more bank accounts and credit card accounts, the more work there is, right? Marami kang i-reconcile na accounts in that case. Correct? Marami kang titingnan na mga transactions. So again, the more accounts involved, the more work there is, right? And the higher you can charge. You get what I'm saying? And another question that you may ask is, how do you do invoicing, right? So, ang type of business mo ba ay maybe professional services or maybe yung mga example natin in the prior sessions, yung mga lawn mowing, yung like bakery for example. So, depends kasi sa type ng business yung pag-i-invoice, right? For example, kung bakery, most likely point of sale. Correct? May system siya na collects the payment from the customer, right? But pag lawn mowing, for example, baka invoicing naman ang gamit, right? So they render the service. After the service, magsisend ng invoice ngayon sa customer, right? So it is important that you know how the business is conducted, right? Because then you will understand how you are going to collect these documents and make sure that you're able to analyze them so that you would know how to record them properly. Okay? And then earlier, may nasabi din na yung clients natin or yung mga may mga clients natin, they're not necessarily accountants, right? So when we talk to them like they're in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. Don't talk in jargons kasi ma-overwhelm yan sila, right? So simplify your language to make sure that your businessman client knows what it is, knows what you're talking about, and that would instantaneously establish trust, right? Because then you have the empathy. You have the empathy that you understand your client is not an accounting professional. So when you ask questions, you simplify your question so that he understands, right? You wouldn't want to say, okay, I'm going to be reconciling your bank accounts and I want to know how many transactions you have. So, I can quote your price or my services appropriately. So reconcile, baka hindi niya maintindihan yon. It may be a terminology that he may not understand, right? So you would have to simplify that. Like, I want to have your bank accounts to make sure that I capture all the transactions, right? And match that against the expenses, making sure that there's no duplicate transactions that gets into the books, right? Or no missing transactions is left out, right? So avoid using jargons when you're talking to your client, because again, most of the clients, that's the reason why they're looking for bookkeepers, because they don't know how to run the books, right? So simplify your language when you're talking to the client. That's why it's important, guys. I will always, I'm not going to get tired of saying this. Communication skills is a very important skills if you are going to be successful as a U.S. bookkeeper or tax practitioner, right? It goes a long way if you invest in good communication skills. And the good news is, if you don't have it yet, you can learn it. You get what I'm saying? You can learn, right? And how you learn in this class, for example, is you participate, you read out loud, you get, coaching, for example, you express your thoughts, right? But if you're just listening and you're even struggling in communicating, you are going to get stuck where you are, right? Because you're not going to grow, because you're not stepping out of your comfort zone. The moment where we keep ourselves in the comfort zone, we're not growing, right? So napasok natin yung communication skills, because when you're doing the initial call with your client, you will have to be able to make sure that you're understood by your client and your client understand you as well, right? So you're understood and you understand the client. You get what I'm saying? Copy so far?
Copy.
Right, thank you. I'd like to ask, for those na mga practitioners na mga bookkeepers, what are your thoughts? How do you usually approach an initial call with a client? Sinong gustong mag-share?
Ask questions about their company.
Okay.
Then kailangan may checklist ka kung halimbawa updated ba sila sa tax, meron ba silang books, updated ba ang books nila, meron ba silang filing, maayos ba yung filing nila. Kasi minsan may na-encounter ako, bali experience ko, may kong client na close ako, yung mga books walang laman. Sakit sa ulo. Tapos, 1 month after nun, may lowang bumaba. Talagang as in, naghahabol ako, kumuha talaga ako ng tao para matapos ko yung buong taon talaga, walang laman ng book. So, yun ang mga kailangan na malaman. Tapos, yung kung magkano i-charge mo. Kasi, minsan, ang mga client hindi nagsasabi kung gaano kadami yung transaction nila per month. So, magsasabi lang sila, ay, hindi masyadong marami. Ngayon, makikita mo lang sila pag actual na ano mo yung mga resibo nila sa ano, yung mga sales nila, tapos yung expenses, makikita mo ang dami. So, bali nag-ano ako no, nag-a-adjust ako. Sabi ko mag-a-adjust ako kasi maraming expenses bukod doon yung tax filing, madami din lalo na pag taxpayer. So, yun sa aking experience.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna, for your insight. Anna, I'm curious, your experiences as a local bookkeeper sa Philippines.
Yes. Oo.
Do you also
Local
have
lang.
experience handling US or international clients for
Wala
that?
pa. Hindi pa ako maka-penetrate sa sa US or Australia. Yun ang tina-target ko eh. Kasi yung time zone ang nagiging problema. So, pag US siguro mas preferred ko mga Eastern. Pag hindi na pwede.
Right. Thank you for sharing. Tama si Anna, no? Part of the engagement is i-clarify. Alma, I'm seeing your hand raised. I'll call you after, ha? I would also like to hear your thoughts about it. Yung sa transactions, number of transactions, no, nangyayari yan. Like the client is not very upfront about the number of transactions that he has in a month. Tapos magre-rate ka ng ganito. Tapos once you start, ang dami pala. Right? So make it a point that in the initial call, nasiset mo na yung expectation with the client. So tell the client that normally this package, for example, if you're proposing a basic package, is up to this transaction only, right? And if we go beyond these transactions and it's significantly over, right, then we may revisit our engagement and we may charge you more than the initial quotation, right? So, kumbaga, yung engagement nyo ay open for revision. Right? Hindi pwede naka-fix yan kasi babalikan ka ni client. Eh. Di ba nag-agree na tayo na $100, bakit mo ngayon sinasabi mo mag-a-adjust tayo? Right? Kasi malulugi ka din. Right? You're working so much for that client and this client is only paying you as, it's not paying you enough. Right? So again, when you're looking at communicating with a client, set the expectations properly. Right? So yun. Thank you, Anna, for sharing. Yes, Alma. I want to hear from your experience as
Hi,
well.
good evening. For me, I usually have referral clients from external auditors, no? So, I usually ask the external auditors her problem, her concerns, and why did she refer me to her or his client. So, I'll set a meeting. So when I am faced with the client, the first thing I would ask is the nature of the business and how long the business has been going. And if they have a bookkeeper or anyone who do their books, their reporting. So I also ask if they're vatable or non-VAT institution. So I'll ask for the filed return. So from there, I will see kung gaano kadaming transaction niya from if, for example, if the client is a vatable institution. So from there, from the summary of sales and purchases niya, I can somehow see usually I also ask if it's okay to know how you gaano kadami yung transactions nila in a month. Then I would also like to see the filed monthly, quarterly, or especially the filed audited financial statement from the previous year or years. So depende. And then I would also like, I usually ask the client, ano ba yung gusto niya? Ano ba yung mga problems nila? Ano yung mga pains nila? So, from there on, I would say, so, sabi na niya. So, I'll say that I'm going to prepare my engagement letter that is tailored fit to your needs, like tax compliance ba siya with bookkeeping or parang internal audit. And most of the staff of my clients does not they are not an accounting graduate. So I also have to teach them the basics, mga ganon. So merong mahal, merong malaking fee, meron ding sakto lang. And then usually if they're vatable, here in with my practice, we set a fee, for example, in the Association of CPAs in Laguna, ha. So nobody will charge this low or this is my fee, and then doon kami nagbe-base lahat kung anong fee nung isa. So nagkaroon kami ng uniformity in fees. So we don't we usually see FB posts like, I like a budget meal. No to that kasi mahirap ang accounting at saka auditing sa bakit ako papatol sa budget meal. Ganun lang po. I hope
Thank you, Alma. Ang dami kong insight doon nakuha from you. Sabi mo doon, you prepare the engagement letter usually naka-tailor fit sa need ng client, right? Kasi again, you do all this evaluation and saka ka muna nag-prepare ng engagement letter after getting all the information that you need, right? So nagko-collect ka ng mga previous tax filing, and you also ask about meron ba silang mga bookkeeper na nagme-maintain ng books, right? And then you also talk about the rate, right? So I don't know if you're comfortable to talk about it in more in jest, right? But I'd like to know. I'd like to push the button on rate. No, not exact, but just for the sake of discussion, Alma.
Okay.
Kasi yung ano naman natin ngayon is, again, US bookkeeping tayo, but Alma and Anna, if you guys have already heard, you just heard them, right? They're talking about the Philippine setting, right? And it's good, right? Because bookkeeping, the language of bookkeeping is universal naman, right? Pwede mong i-practice sa Philippines or pwede mong i-practice sa US, right? So, but what we are actually really pushing for is a US bookkeeping. Hilda, I also see your hand. I will call you shortly. So I'll just like to push the button on rates, right? So in the Philippines, I want to know, I'm curious, Alma, range na lang tayo, wag tayong specific para hindi ka ma-hot seat.
Yeah.
What's the lowest rate do you ask from a client, and
Depende po for what kind of service. If bookkeeping, kung kung vatable siya, pwedeng mag-start sa 5K pataas. Pag non-VAT siya. Pag vatable siya, pag ang bookkeeping starts at 10 up. Pag tax compliant siya, iba din po ang fee ko for that. Tapos, pag annual, I also charge another fee for that, for doing the unaudited financial statement. Kasi yung external auditor, gusto niya kompleto na lahat. Kumbaga, audit FS and notes na lang ilalagay niya. Though meron din ako mga little notes attached to it, and then din yung mga property and equipment, tamang depreciation and whatever. Kasi most of the time, parang sa depreciation nagkakatalo sa schedule po nun. So, dun sa vatable kong client na I also teach the staffs, parang staff with their respective, this one is handling sales books. So, gina-guide ko sila. So, separate yung fee ko for the bookkeeping and for the compliance. Nasa siya. We started sa 25K and then pataas na ng pataas. Meron kasi ako doon line sa engagement letter ko that I have a 5 to 10% annual increase, depends on which it should have been discussed and approved by the owner kung okay sa kanya. Pero mukhang for last year, nag-freeze na siya. Hindi na siya kasi pasara na daw siya. Okay, fine. So, ganun. Ang audit naman kasi ng mga auditors is depende din sa kanila. starts with 60 pataas or 200, 300, depende. Ganun po.
Thank you, Alma. Really very insightful, ano. So meron kang monthly bookkeeping, meron ka ding annual, meron ka ding Alma kasi is a CPA, so yung practice niya. Sorry, Hilda, I'll call you. Tapos na natin tong thoughts sharing ni Alma. Varied yung services niya, and obviously she's got so many experience in her under her belt. But bakit natin tinatakal to na Philippine setting? Kasi may purpose ako dyan, may reason ako, right? Which I will explain, or I will put in more details later. Baka kasi sabihin nyo, ay mga CPA naman yung nag-share, hindi yun applicable sa akin. Mag-i-end ka na dito sa call na to. Wag. Wag, please. May point ako, I promise. Okay? So, but I want to thank Anna and Alma for sharing so far. And we want to hear from Hilda too. Hilda, if you want to share, wag kang magtampo. Nakita kita nag-raise ng hand. We'd love to hear from you too.
Okay. Yung share ko naman is from the point of view na practicing bookkeeping with US clients.
Okay.
Kasi yung current client ko ngayon is hinire niya ako to prepare budget forecasting lang. Pero nung ginagawa ko yung budget report niya, yung books niya sa QuickBooks is hindi updated. Tapos meron siyang yung unreconciled na accounts from 2023 and 2024. So sinuggest ko sa kanya na ipa-clean muna niya, sabi ko ipa-clean up niya muna dun sa bookkeeper niya kasi yung bookkeeper niya is US CPA. Pero yung bookkeeper niya as unresponsive. Yung pala during that time nagkaroon siya ng COVID. Ngayon parang naano yung client kasi gusto niya maano agad yung budget report kasi hinihingi na nung consultant niya. So ang ginawa niya, hinire niya ako as bookkeeper, tapos yung current bookkeeper niya is terminate niya. Kawawa naman. Tapos ayun, yun. During the discovery call kasi kahit client ko na siya for budget report, nagkaroon pa rin kami ng discovery call for bookkeeping. So, ang tinanong ko sa kanya is yung business background niya, yung who manages her finances, like meron ba siyang staff member na aside from the CPA, meron din bang siyang yung internal bookkeeper kasi yung CPA niya parang katulad ko rin, yung external siya, freelancer din. Tapos yung current bookkeeping situation niya kasi parang hindi nga siya masyadong updated. Yung paano ba ina-update yung books niya, kung weekly, monthly, or quarterly, humihingi ba siya ng reports dun sa bookkeeper niya, kung how are her invoices or receipts and expenses are being tracked, and kung yung banks niya, credit cards niya, kung yun ba is separate sa personal expenses niya at saka sa business expenses niya, and kung meron siyang payroll, how do they currently handle payroll, and yung contractor payments. And meron nga siyang payroll, and ako na rin yung pinag-handle niya nun. Yung payroll is ang nagsisend sa akin ng timesheet. Although may access din ako dun sa timesheet nila, pero meron siyang office manager na nagsisend sa akin ng timesheet para isa lang talaga yung report, para tally kami, pareho kami ng nung time na na pinapasok sa payroll. And then meron din siyang mga contractors na yun ding office manager niya ang nagsisend sa akin ng timesheet ng contractors niya. And then sa compliance naman, sa compliance and reporting, tinanong ko sa kanya yung tax filing niya, hiningi ko yung 11/20 report niya para alam ko kung kailan yung last na pag-update niya ng tax. Tapos, yun yung kinompare ko dun sa current niya na financial statement. Kasi ma-generate ko naman yung financial statement niya sa QuickBooks. So, generate ko yung 2024 niya na financial statements. Kinumpare ko dun sa 1120 report niya na tax return. And meron siyang mga discrepancies. So, sabi ko, I suggest kailangan mo ng clean up before ako makagawa ng budget report. And sabi niya, how much do you charge for clean up? Ayun, parang biglang yung ano, ting! Dollar sign na yung mata ko noon. So, chinarge ko siya $600 for clean up. Sabi ko kasi, not only 2024 yung kailangan kong i-clean up, kailangan ko rin i-clean up yung 2023. So, cleaning up ko siya up to 2024 and then ayun, binayaran niya ako ng $600 and then from nung ma-clean up siya, doon nag-start yung ano namin, yung contract namin for monthly bookkeeping and ang charge ko sa kanya is $650 per month. Pero yung time ko is flexible kung kailan ko lang gagawin as long as tapos ko siya yung report every month. And kasama na rin dun sa package. Sabi ko naka-discount na siya kasi kasama na yung monthly na deliverables ko is yung financial statements niya which is yung balance sheet niya tsaka yung income statement and yung statement of cash flows. And then meron pa siyang budget report at saka yung ano ba yung isa pang budget report at yung ano yung parang analysis ng yung comparison ng dalawa niyang hygienist kasi ano siya dental center siya. So ayun. Tapos ayun yun yung ano ko. Yun yung inano ko. Yun
Thank
yung
you,
mga
Hilda. I like your sharing kasi may dollars eh. Napaka-specific ng rate mo and I really like that because it gives people the idea. Ano magkano ba? How much are we talking about in this engagement? Right? And dami ko ding na note sa sharing mo because you said the initial engagement was just for budget and forecast, but then it transitioned to clean up and then may na-mention ka nga din na nagpe-payroll ka na, right? And in that engagement, single
yun,
engagement, you charge 650 or 615 per month.
650.
650, right? And that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money for one client, right? One bookkeeping client. And
Yes.
I don't know if Alma and Anna would agree to this. Pag 25,000 yung charge mo sa client, malaking client na yan pag sa Philippines, right? Malaking client na yan pag sa Philippines. But in the US, 650 is, I don't know if Hilda will also agree, it's not a lot of work, right? So,
Yes,
dito
and
papasok. Go ahead,
sorry.
Hilda. That's okay.
Sorry. Hindi ko siya full time. Saglit ko lang siya ginagawa kasi once a week lang ako nagla-log in sa QuickBooks niya. Kasi may
Right.
full job ako, so weekend ko lang siya ginagawa.
So how many hours roughly do you spend on this client, Hilda? Estimate on
About
a monthly basis.
8 to 10 hours a week.
8 to 10 hours a week. So that's in a month. That would be like 40 hours a month.
Yes,
Correct?
40 hours a month.
40 hours a month.
During first week of the month, dun lang dumadami yung trabaho ko kasi nag-generate ako ng mga financial statements, yung budget report, and yung payroll. Yung payroll pala is bi-weekly. So,
Bi-weekly.
yun. Pero saglit lang naman yung kasi gusto payroll lang yun eh.
Yeah, and tapos the more that you do it, the more you become familiar with it, the faster you do it, right?
Yes, right.
Curious ako, Hilda. Are you a Philippine CPA or ano bang credentials natin?
Accountancy graduate lang ako. Hindi ako CPA.
Accountancy graduate si Hilda. Okay. And she's not a CPA. So the reason I ask is this. The sharing of Anna, Alma, Hilda could be inspiring, right? And you may also have reservation. Kasi mga CPA sila or kasi mga accountancy graduate sila. Baka hindi ko kayanin, right? Kasi nga hindi naman ako accounting graduate. But here's the kicker, guys. In the Philippines, it's very discriminating, right? Halos mga practitioners, mga CPA, mga accountants, mga accounting graduates. Kasi bureaucratic yung dating sa atin, right? But the good news is if we practice in the US, a lot of clients don't care if you're a CPA or if you're an accountancy graduate. What they look for is experience and that you also know what you're doing, right? Kasi kunyari, maghahanap ka ngayon ng clients sa Upwork or online jobs page. Online jobs page, not so much. Maybe Upwork or Fiverr if you have tried Fiverr. Or maybe even LinkedIn. Yung mga client, hindi naman sila hihingi ng credential mo na CPA ka ba, license ka ba, ganyan-ganyan. No. They would look at your experience. They would look at how you present yourself, right? And, you know, if you set the impression on the client that you know what you're talking about, walang mga credential na requirement, okay? So, what I'm trying to say is that while this could be daunting to you, because yun nga, hindi tayo accountancy graduate, wala tayong CPA na designation. While it may be applicable in the Philippines, in the US, hindi. Right? So you just need to know what you're doing and you will get the job. You will get the client. And it may, parehas sa shinare ni Hilda, one engagement can lead to another. Right? So what I'm basically saying is that if you're here and you don't necessarily have the credentials, we'll work on that credential. Okay? We'll work on that. And one credential is the certification from QBO. It's a big deal. If you have the QBO Pro Advisor badge or itong bookkeeping natin, once natapos natin, may badge tayo. That means a lot, right? And that could be your stepping stone towards getting a US client, even if you're not an accounting graduate, right? And that's also the reason why we're doing it together. Kasi imagine, hindi ka accountancy graduate, wala kang accounting background at all, and you're taking the QBO certification in QuickBooks. Will you really understand everything on your own? Baka gagawin mo lang, magne-next ka lang. Magta-trial and error ka. Kung mali ka, re-retake mo na naman kasi para matandaan mo lang yung tamang sagot. But you don't really you're not setting a good foundation kasi hindi mo naman talaga alam yung concept, hindi mo na iintindihan. You get what I'm saying? Because again, you can take this course at your own time. You can do it at your own pace without joining this group na nagmi-meet 7 to 9, right? That's 2 hours. You can do it on your own. You can do it even fastly. But the thing that we're doing is that we are providing you an opportunity to set a really good foundation, again, by breaking down the complex terminologies and also share actual experiences. Okay? Para mas maintindihan nyo so that pagkakuha nyo ng certification, hindi lang credential yon, but also comes with it competence. You know what I'm saying? Kasi marami sa atin where after credential, nakakalimutan natin yung competence. They have to go together, right? Making sense so far, guys? Or am I over-explaining things? I hope not. Let me know if I am. So yeah, may mga na-share din kanina sa chat about rates, right? So again, thank you to Anna, Elma, and Hilda. And you know, as we go along, we would love to hear more, right? Kasi nga marami sa atin dito may experiences na kasi. So meron ako nakitang rate kanina eh. So 15K daw local client, sabi niya niyan. Freelancer non-VAT 2,500 monthly retainer. Pag local to. So by the way, walang VAT sa US ah. Walang VAT. Meron sales tax sa states, pero hindi rin lahat mayroon sa hindi lahat ng state nagcha-charge ng sales tax. Mga LOA that applies to the Philippine setting naman, letter of authority ng BIR. Single prop, malaki na 25K, sabi ni Ana. Yeah, malaki na 25K in the Philippines. Pag 25K in USD, magkano yun? $500. Right? So imagine if you have a client na you're doing bookkeeping for like $500, and you're only spending 8 to 10 hours a week for that client, pwede kang mag-accommodate ng 4, right? Maybe even more. So 4 times 500, that's already $2,000. Sabi, tama ba yung math ko? Diba? $2,000 already. You only have 4 clients. Right? Buhay ka na nun. Right? Hindi na patayan yung work mo and you still own your time. Is it possible? Yes. It is possible. Right? And again, that's why you need to equip yourself with the right knowledge so that you can truly provide value doon sa client mo. Kasi hindi mo pwede mag-charge ka ng 500 tapos ginagawa mo lang bank reconciliation. Right? And then may mention din si Hilda earlier na yung client niya terminate yung USCPA kasi unresponsive. And I really wrote that down because it's very common, right? In the US, if you have a bookkeeper, you will have to set an appointment with your accountant or with your bookkeeper to be able to speak to your bookkeeper. Kasi mahal yan sila, right? It's like setting an appointment with a dentist or with a doctor. Hindi gaya sa atin na bookkeeper ka, tatawagan ka, iti-text ka, pupuntahan ka sa office, right? In the US, mahal yung serbisyo ng mga professionals, okay? And so, isang mga frustration ng mga business owners is that yung mga accountants sila unresponsive. Like, nagsisend sila ng email ngayon. Next month na yan magre-reply, right? Pag magko-call man, it's gonna go to voicemail, right? And why am I sharing this with you is because this could be also an advantage for us Filipinos, right? Because we can be responsive, right? Na isang ring lang ng phone, isang email lang, may response ka agad, right? And they're even getting our services at a lower rate, right? So isang advantage yan. And it really happens a lot of times. I've seen that in my personal experience na frustration ng mga clients sa kanilang mga USCPAs ay unresponsiveness. Walang customer service, kumbaga. Right? And that's one thing that we can have as an advantage. Right? So yun, let's move forward na. Baka mapalayo pa tayo sa ating ano ba to? We're walking through the experience of Maria, right? So Christina, we're still gonna need your help on this, or wait lang. Right. Or baka may gusto ng iba magbasa. So now we're moving on to the chart of accounts. Who wants to volunteer?
Okay. I'm gonna read it.
Yes, but go ahead.
The chart of accounts. A list of all the accounts and sub-accounts used to categorize transactions. Record and post transactions. Next, Maria records transactions for the bakery. Thanks to the point of sales system, online banking, and dedicated accounting software, most of the transactions are automatically recorded in real time, which is ideal. However, there are some transactions that need to be manually entered into the system. Maria ensures the transactions are correctly categorized and assigned to the right accounts. Her accounting software automatically reorganizes the journal entries, grouping them based on the different accounts. And Maria posts the summary entries to the general ledger. She then reconciles all transactions against source documents such as bank statements. Let's hear about Maria's experience with recorded and posting transactions.
Okay, thank you, Christina. We'll hear the sharing from Maria.
The time I spend on transaction management can vary depending on the client's business, structure, and operations. It's important to accurately categorize and enter transactions to save time in the future when analyzing data. Imagine spending a lot of time analyzing incorrect data due to miscategorization. It's not fun. Then I post the entries to the general ledger and reconcile everything. I compare the activity in the journals and ledgers against the source documents to make sure everything was recorded right. After I do this, I know I have accurate information as I move forward in the process, which is really important.
All right. So let me stop sharing and then I'll open up the QBO test drive. So again, we can put into context yung mga terminologies na nabanggit. Okay, give me 1 second. So first, we're gonna tackle the chart of accounts. Ano ba yung chart of accounts? Because maybe a lot of you are not yet familiar about it. So let me share again. Right. So this is a test drive. Again, this is how QuickBooks Online account appear, right? This is a simulation. Now, talking about chart of accounts, when you are in QuickBooks, where do you see that? It's in here. I think here. Go to transactions and then hit on chart of accounts. So this is how a chart of accounts look like. So may mga accounts like checking, for example, and that's defined. Ano ba yung checking? It's a bank account and accounts receivable. So you recall our lesson about the accounting equation, yung asset, liability, equity, and then we even have revenue and we even have expense, right? So yung mga accounts na yon, may mga sub-accounts yon, right? So there are accounts that composes the assets. Ano ba yung mga asset? Bank, accounts receivable, inventory, mga prepaid expenses. And then what about liabilities? Liabilities are credit cards, accounts payable, and stuff. Expenses, you also define what are those expenses. It could be commission, disposal, whatever. So that's how a chart of accounts look like. And a chart of accounts depends on the nature of the business, right? It depends on the nature of the business. So for example, try natin, itong nature of business niya kasi is, ano ba tong sample company natin? I think lawn mowing business kasi to. So, yung mga expenses niya, if you take a look at it, ay cost of labor, installation, decks and patios. So, like, for example, decks and patios, job materials, is classified as materials and supplies and materials. Kung ang bookkeeping client mo ay, let's say for example, dentist or doctor, you would not necessarily see this accounts, right? Because it's not going to be applicable doon sa nature of business ng client. You get what I'm saying? So the chart of accounts are listing of accounts that's related to the nature of the business, right? And who does this? Like, you may ask, sinong nagsiset ng chart of accounts? Tayo yon, bookkeepers. Tayo yung nagsiset ng chart of accounts. Initially, when we open QuickBooks for the first time, mayroon na siyang predefined chart of accounts. Again, predefined yung standard. AR, inventory. So that's an account that's applicable regardless of the nature of business, right? But as you progress in doing the bookkeeping for the business, you will encounter a situation wherein you will need to create an account, right? In a chart of accounts. So mag-a-add na kayo ngayon ng account dun sa chart of accounts. So how do you do that? So you see this new account. So this is where you will define the chart of account or the account that you would add to the chart of accounts, right? So for example, you will create an account. For example, anong pwede nating i-example dito? Meron ba siyang marketing expense? Tingnan natin, marketing. Wala. Advertising, for example. O merong advertising. Ano na lang, ano bang mga usually peculiar? Magbigay nga kayo ng peculiar na account na hindi usually nasa predefined set chart of accounts ng QBO. Who can give me a suggestion? Software, for example. Software, meron bang software dito? Or subscription na lang? Oh, merong subscriptions kasi. So for example, ganito yung situation. may accumulated depreciation daw. Sige, try natin. Accumulated depreciation. Meron na accumulated depreciation. Ganito na lang. For example, kasi nakita natin may dues and subscription na, di ba? But we want to be specific to the dues and subscription. Gusto natin iba yung Netflix, iba yung Amazon Prime, iba yung QuickBooks subscription, iba yung subscription niya sa OnlyFans, charet. Ano ba, mga subscription. Yun lang, tatlo, for example. So, gusto natin i-specify yung mga subscriptions na yon na we will put under dues and subscriptions. Right? Like, for example, try natin ha. In this context, open lang tayo ng separate window. Para maintindihan nyo bakit tayo nag-create ng account, ng chart of accounts. Right? So, try lang natin. Let's go with the profit and loss statement muna. Again, para mas maintindihan nyo. So, let's go to reports and let's say open a standard report and pull natin profit and loss statement. And let's pull a P&L on a monthly breakdown. Breakdown natin siya monthly. So, switch natin to classic view. Grabe, ang bilis ng oras, 8:21 agad, ano? So, this year to date, and then let's say we'll break that down into monthly. Gamitin natin cash na accounting method. So, we run the report, right? So, this is from January up until today, August 29, kasi nga year to date yung pinupull up natin. Right? So, tingnan natin yung dues and subscription na account. Alright, wala siyang dues and subscription so far na recorded na expense, right? Wala. So dues and subscription, wala. Pero yung utilities, if you take a look, yung utilities naka-breakdown. Ano bang breakdown ng utilities? Gas and telephone. So that means these are sub-accounts of utilities, right? My meals. So let's say, for example, in the dues and subscription, mag-create tayo ng sub-account, tapos mag-record tayo ng expense. Or is it now the right time to do that? Maybe later na lang, ano. So, you can see, you have just seen the chart of accounts, right? So, anong gamit ng chart of accounts? Right? Anong gamit ng chart of accounts? Bakit merong chart of accounts? Because it helps us with recording the transactions and categorizing the transactions. Sabi nga ni Maria, minsan masakit sa ulo generate ng financial kapag ang categorization ay mali. Right? How does that relate to the P&L? Kunyari, ganito. Ito, plants and soil. Kung ang plants and soil ay miscategorized, like 1 month, plants and soil yung categorization mo, the following month, naging sprinkler and drip systems, kahit hindi naman. Right? So, your financials would not make sense. This is not a good example kasi July lang yung transaction dito. But, ano bang meron dito? Advertising, for example. So, may advertising na 74.86. Pero titingnan mo, bakit isang month lang siya nagpa-advertise, right? Baka naman kasi yung mga advertising expenses ng previous month recorded into a different account, right? Maling categorization, right? And so, yun yung finifix ng accountant, right? Now, when you're doing categorization, diba sabi kanina, part ng accounting cycle is collection of documents and analyzing those transactions, right? Kung business transaction ba yan. Now, because we're talking about the US setting, right? Hindi siya ganun kalala or hindi siya ganun kasakit sa ulo as compared to a Philippine setting. Kasi sa Philippines, pag bookkeeper ka, ang binibigay sa'yo mga resibo. right? Mga resibo, mga notes, and stuff, right? But bihirang-bihira yan sa US. Kasi nga, online, right? Imagine mo, bibigyan ka ng resibo ng client mo na nasa US. Imposible naman yun, no? Email niya, di ba? Hindi, it doesn't work that way in a US setting. Sa Philippines, pwede. Kasi kung may office ka, yung client mo, pupunta dun sa office mo, will give you box of receipts and then you record those receipts. That's how it works in the Philippines, right? But in the US, hindi, right? Because automated sila, right? So, nabanggit na natin last time na yung mga clients, they open bank accounts, right? Separate for their business. And what are those bank accounts for? It really saves you time, right? Sabi ni Hilda, they save their receipts and shared in a shared Google Drive. Pwede din yon, right? Na hindi physical receipt, but they give you, they scan the document, no, the receipt, and they save it in the Google Drive. Pwede rin yon. We will show that later. But in a lot of instances, yung bank transactions ni client recorded, nakalink na yan sa QuickBooks, right? So where do you go? You go here, dito sa transactions, and if you go to bank transactions, yung bank feeds nandyan, right? So for example, in this case, yung checking account may 25 transactions. So because this checking account is nakalink, right? Nilink yan ni client from his online bank account to QuickBooks, right? So tingnan nyo, naka-feed na yan, right? Naka-feed na, right? Look at that, naka-feed na, right? And all you need to do is to categorize it and then post it. Pag in-add nyo yan, that's actually posting the transaction to the general ledger, right? So, say for example, books by Bessie, right? Uncategorized income. So, pag uncategorized income, meaning you have to categorize it, right? So, as a bookkeeper, what you do is very simple. Click on that transaction, and instead of uncategorized income, you categorize it. So this is where your chart of accounts is applied, right? What you do on the accounts field, what the contents of that are your chart of accounts. You know what I'm saying? So these are all your chart of accounts. As you can see, advertising is mapped as an expense, right? Insurance is an expense. Meron pa yung iba. Job materials is an income, right? Meron dyang other accounts from the chart of accounts, right? And if you cannot find anything that relates to that to this particular transaction, then that's when you add a new account, right? So in this example, we know that Books by Bessie is a landscaping client, right? Based on experience, for example. So what you do is you categorize that as an income, right? Tandaan lang natin yung date, okay? Ano bang date nito? 9/24/25. Ang advance naman nito. But this is September 24, 2025. Kaloka naman to. Wag yan. Gawa tayo ng current date. Kasi i-relate natin yan sa financial statements eh. So, wait lang ha. Create tayo ng another tab. Generate lang tayo ng profit and loss statement. So, itong mga transactions na to guys, hindi pa to naka-add sa financial ni client. Kasi nga, nasa bank transactions pa siya. Hindi pa siya naka-post. Right? Hindi pa siya naka-post. Kumbaga, sa accounting cycle, nasa first phase pa lang tayo. We are in the process of analyzing and recording the transaction. You get what I'm saying? Copy so far? Right.
Okay.
So, for example, ito. July. Let's do August. Okay, 1-2. Ito yung i-categorize natin kasi malaking amount. So, if you open a P&L, so lahat ng nasa P&L, that means those are transactions that were already posted, right? Those are posted transactions. So let's do a profit and loss for August. So let's do August. So this month, kasi August pa naman tayo. This month, right? Right. So as you can see, wala pang transaction for August masyado, right? Wala nga tayong income eh, right? Kasi that means lahat ng transaction for August nasa bank transactions pa, hindi pa naka-post. You get what I'm saying? Right? So now, if we are gonna categorize this transaction, sabi dito, 825, 2025, uncategorized expense. Wait lang. Dito muna tayo sa income. So 825, may 200 na income, right? So we're doing the first step, right? What we do is we record this rental income for 200 and then we'll post it. We'll post it into the books. So kunyari, deposit yan. And then we do want to do uncategorized income. Let's follow this. Ano bang meron sa chart of accounts? So 200, let's look at the chart of accounts. Ano bang yung income accounts niya dito? So for example, ito, A1 rental backhoe. So kung rental yan ng backhoe, it could be, so dito natitingnan niyo yung mga chart of accounts. Ano bang related na pwede nating i-classify itong account na to or yung transaction na to? So again, this is the first step. You analyze the transaction, right? You analyze before you record it. So kung backhoe rental, yung income accounts niya na nasa chart of accounts ay other income, pest control services, refunds and allowances, sales of product income, services, unapplied. Wala siyang rental income, di ba? Wala siyang rental income. May services, but pwedeng services, right? Pwedeng services. Or kung ikaw ay very OC, gusto mo rental income talaga siya, specific to rental income, you can also do that. How? You will create rental income as an account, right? So, gawin natin. Gusto ko kasi rental. Ayoko ng services. I want to be specific. So, I'll add an account in the chart of accounts. So, I'll hit new and I will say rental income. Right? Tapos now you define what this rental income is. Rental income is an income account. Get what I'm saying? Now, detail type. This is service, right? Service fee. Hindi naman siya pwedeng product. Or we can also do other primary income kung, you know, usually nangyayari, nagpaparent siya ng heavy equipment. Right? So we can also do that. So this is how it would look like. Right? Sa profit and loss statement, nandito siya, rental income. And then you hit save. When you hit save, you're basically creating an account in the chart of accounts. Or in other words, you're adding an account in the chart of accounts. Get what I'm saying so far? Because hindi ka nakahanap ng appropriate na account. So now I hit save. Right? Now it's if I click on this again, I can now see rental income. Right? And I hit on that and I hit add. The moment I hit add, I'm recording the transaction. Tapos na akong mag-analyze, right? I've analyzed the transaction and now I'm recording it. And I'm posting it to the general ledger. So I'll hit add. So transaction categorized. And again, that was August 25. Now let's look up our profit and loss statement. What would happen if we refresh this? All right, let's just refresh this back to this month. So you see, I now have rental income 200 in my profit and loss statement. Because what did I do there? What did I do when what did I do to have the rental income of 200 appear in my financial statement? I posted the transaction, right? The moment I added it, I posted a transaction. Copy so far? So this is the wonder of the accounting cycle. Again, you start with analyzing the transaction, recording it, and then posting it. Copy so far? It making sense so far, guys?
Copy.
And
Yes,
then
po. Yes, po.
we even cover the chart of accounts because again, the rental income was not there. So we had to create the rental income, right? Ang sabi ni kanina Maria doon sa audio, ang sakit niya daw sa ulo is yung mga transactions na not categorized properly. Right? So ano yung sinasabi niya not categorized properly? So for example, hindi ka nag-train sa borderless accountant, charet. Or hinar kang bookkeeper, tapos kung ano-ano lang pinag-click mo, inag-add ka lang, hindi ka nagbabasa, hindi mo ginawa yung first step, yung analyzing the transaction. Kasi tingnan mo, pwede naman mag-add. Add na lang ako ng add, di ba? Hindi ka nag-analyze. So, kunyari, ito, hanap tayo ng transaction ulit. Ito for example, kasi malaki to, 1, 2. So, nakita mo 1, 2. Tapos, walang category, di ba? Walang category. Tapos, backhoe rental din siya. So, for example, ganito. Kita mo na rental, right? So, kunyari, magka-categorize ka ngayon. Tapos, ginawa mo advertising. Di ba? Klarong-klaro ng rental, pero ginawa mo advertising. Kasi rental to expense. Kasi tingnan mo, spent is spent. Rental. Tapos, tamad ka lang. Kung ano mo nakitang unang nakita mong account dyan sa chart of accounts, yun ang pinili mo. Right? And then you add. You add, di ba? So yun. I-refresh natin ulit yung profit and loss statement natin. Tandaan nyo, 1, 2 yun ha. And the-record niya as advertising. Right? So, ayun, balikan natin. Sabihin natin dito, this month lang. So, saan yung 1, 2, di ba? Na-record na siya as advertising. So, ngayon, this will cause a misinformation sa user ng financial statements. Kasi it would appear that the business spent 1,200 on advertising. Tapos pag sinend mo to sa client mo, sabi niya, bakit ako may advertising ng 1, 2? Hindi naman ako usually nagpapa-advertise. 'Di ba? So now, you're providing an information to your client na mali, right? So pag ni client to, ay, alam ko na yung bookkeeper ko hindi marunong. 'Di ba? Huli ka na agad because it's very simple transaction that was supposed to have been recorded correctly. But again, because tamad ka, kita mo sa chart of accounts, pinakauna yung pinakaunang account yung nakita mo, classify mo, inad mo. Right? Akala mo tama na yon. But wait, kahit pa yan complete, kasi sabi ko nga, di ba, in the past, kahit pa yan complete yung transactions mo because nag-add ka lang naman sa bank feeds, it does not necessarily mean na tama yung financials mo. Baka kasi mali yung categorization mo, which, again, almost laging nangyayari. Right? Kaya nga sabi ni Maria kanina sa recording, masakit sa ulo kapag wrong categorization yung nangyayari. Ang tanong, pwede mo bang baguhin? Right? Kung ako yung accountant na nagre-review ng work ni Maria, pwede ko ba siyang baguhin? Pwede naman. That's the beauty of QuickBooks, right? So I just go to this, kaya magtanong ako, bakit may advertising? Tapos nakita ko, memo ng transaction, A1 rental naman. So for me to fix that, click ko lang to, yung transaction, and then I'll just recategorize it. Right? So instead of rental, hahanap ako ngayon na advertising, hahanap ako ng rental expense. Right? Sabi dito, rent or lease. O, diba? Rent or lease expense. Pag kinawa ko naman to, rental income, anong mangyayari? Tama ba? What do you think will happen kung pag sinabi ko, ay, ano ba to? Expense ba to or income? Diba? So, pag nagkamali ka naman dito, another ground for termination ng inyong engagement, 'di ba? So titingnan niyo kung ano yung nature ng transaction, 'di ba? So this was payment, 'di ba? This was payment from the business to one of its vendor. So expense, right? So when you recategorize it, and you type in rental, you have to select the right thing, right? Kasi tingnan natin, sadyain nating imali, right? Sadyain nating imali. Kunyari, hindi na naman ako nag-training. Ginawa ko, nag-income na naman ako. Ginawa ko rental income instead of rental expense. Tapos sinave ko naman. Inalaw naman ako ng QuickBooks. Nag-save naman. So baka tama ako. Di ba? Yan yung sabi ko sa sarili ko na tama ako. Di ba? So yun. Ginawa ko. Wait lang. Tama ba yung ginawa ko ngayon? So rental income. So saan yung ating P&L? Right? Balik tayo sa P&L. So tingnan natin, i-analyze natin anong impact nung error na yon, right? Ina-highlight ko lang to guys kasi sa QuickBooks, parang ang dali ng buhay, di ba? Pindot-pindot ka lang, add-add ka lang, di ba? But if you don't have the necessary training, you may be making a mistake. And then minsan din yung mistake na yon, hindi yan nakaka-capture right away. Kasi 'di ba, for example, binigay mo itong report sa client o sa taxpayer, hindi na naman yan tiningnan ng details kasi hindi naman siya accountant kasi, 'di ba? So baka sabihin niya, okay, tama naman to, okay naman yung profitability ko, right? Kasi titingnan niya yung bottom line lang eh, hindi yung line item ng expenses. So sino possibly yung makakakot ng mistake na to? Yung yung tax accountant na at the end of the year. Pag nagprepare na yung si tax accountant ng tax return, doon niya na kasi magsi-semi audit tayo eh. I-analyze natin yung mga transaction. So doon na makikita na bakit ito expense dapat income or bakit ito income naging expense. So again, balikan natin yung sinadya nating maliin, right? So tingnan nyo ngayon. Now you're seeing negative income. Bakit negative income? Possibly ba nag-negative income? 'Di ba? Kaya it matters yung balikan natin yung normal balance, 'di ba? Sabi natin pag income account, yung normal balance niya is credit, 'di ba? Kasi nasa right side siya. Now because what you did earlier was instead kasi alam natin yung expense dapat yung 1-2, 'di ba? Expense dapat siya. But ginawa mo siyang income, right? So di ba yung expense is debit side naman yung kanyang normal balance, right? So tapos yung income is credit yung normal balance. In this way, you're actually debiting an income account. So again, pag dinebit mo yung income account, you're reducing the income, right? So di ba kanina tandaan nyo to 200 to kanina, di ba? 200 siya. Ngayon naging negative 1,000. So if you want to dig deeper, just click on this 1,000. It's gonna give you the breakdown of the transaction. You're able to drill it down. So tingnan nyo, bakit nag-negative? Kasi may rental income na 200, tapos may pinasok kang rental income na negative, 1,200. Right? And if you want to drill further, pwede nyo tingnan kung ano yung underlying journal entry nito. Right? So as you see, 1,200 supposed to be an expense, but categorized as rental income. If you click on more, you will see the underlying journal entry, right? You didn't have to do the journal entry because QuickBooks does it for you, right? QuickBooks does it for you. Now, just so you understand, again, the normal balances, let's look at how it's done. Let's look at how it's recorded in the journal. So tingnan nyo, yung checking, tama, credit. Oh, sorry. Tama, credit yung checking kasi nagbayad, di ba? 1,200. But look at rental income, it's debited. Right? Yung again, normal balance ng income is credit. And every time you debit it, you're reducing it. Right? So nangyari, yung 200 kanina na income, binawasan mo siya ng 1,200, right? So 200 minus 1,200, kaya negative ka 1,000. You get what I'm saying? So that's what happens, right? If we are careless in categorizing transactions, hindi tayo nag-analyze. Nagdidiretso tayo sa step 2, posting agad tayo, right? Or nagre-record man tayo, but we don't do correct or we don't do proper and enough analysis ng transaction. So mahalaga na we study what the transaction is about, right? So tanungin natin, ano ba tong transaction na to? Expense. So kung expense to, anong category niya naman as an expense, 'di ba? So kung backhoe rental, so malamang rental expense, right? So baguhin natin, rental expense or rent. May nakita tayo kaninang rent or rent or lease, di ba? Rent or lease expense. So let's do that. And now let's save and close. So what would happen to our profit and loss statement? Let's just refresh this. Right, so now that transaction has now been recategorized as rent or lease 1,200. Let's go back to our P&L. Let's go back. This is what I don't like about QuickBooks kasi nagre-refresh siya. Nawawala yung kailangan mo na namang mag-select ng parameters. So this month, right. So you've gone back to your rental income, which is the correct one na 200. And if you drill down, tingnan niyo yung rent na 1,200, nandito na siya sa expense, right? Rent or lease, 1, 2, so that whatever you see as a negative amount here, which is the loss, is correct na. Diba? Diba, sabi natin, ito yung output natin, yung financial statements. Ito yung output natin as bookkeeper, right? And now with this, what you have seen so far, you now have an appreciation gaano kaganda ang QuickBooks Online, right? Because you don't do manual recording. Kung magkamali ka man, because alam mo yung mali mo, you can correct it. You know what I mean? So after the things that you have done, recording, posting, pagtingin mo dun sa financial statements mo na output mo, you do self-check. You do sanity check. Tingnan mo, tama ba itong mga amounts na nakikita ko? And then you start asking yourself, kung hindi tama, you can always drill down. Makikita mo kung ano yung composition ng transaction, ng amounts na yon. And then you can always go back and correct. Right? You get what I'm saying so far? So hindi niyo na kailangan maging CPA kayo or kailangan niyo na mag-aral ng bonggang-bonggang accounting to do this. Kasi once you have the knowledge on how to navigate QuickBooks and a little bit of bookkeeping, you will get to a point wherein when you're looking at the financial statements, you will be able to review your own work. You know what I mean? Kasi hindi naman to agad-agad nyo isa-submit sa owner eh. You will have to review it first, and then once you're done, only then you will tell the client that, hey client, I have already updated your QuickBooks account, and either you print out the report for them, attach nyo sa email, or you can also just ask the client to log on to the QuickBooks account and go to reports, right? So if you want, you can print this out, right? May option dito to print. So export to PDF. So pang happy ka na sa financial mo, you print this, save it as a PDF, and then attach it to the email that you will send to the client. You get what I'm saying? So ganun kadali sa QuickBooks, right? But because madali, minsan, natitake for granted ng bookkeeper, right? Kasi madaling magkamali, right? Kasi nga madali siyang i-operate, madali din na magkamali. Copy so far? Making sense? Everything is good? Balikan lang natin yung chat niya.
Yes po.
May tanong ata si Julie. So how about Chris checking the previous month to check which accounts the business used for rental or backhoe to follow the consistency principles? Correct. Pwede din yun. Gawin nyo, i-check nyo yung kaya ako, when I look at the P&L, I always do it monthly. I break it down to monthly to check the consistency ng amounts. Right? And historical. Yung example natin kanina kasi walang prior transactions. Right? Kasi nakita natin nung nag-generate tayo ng P&L, yung may laman lang July. Right? Kasi nga, testing environment lang to. But tama yung point mo, Juvie. For you to be able to categorize the transaction properly, tingnan nyo yung previous transactions, how it's categorized. You know what I'm saying? So, how does that work? For example, let's look at this. All dates, for example. All dates. So, ito na yung profit and loss niya since the very start. So, if you look at, say, fountains and garden lighting, if you break that down, you will actually see the the underlying transactions there. Right? So for example, ito, invoice. Ito yung memo, ito yung mga name ng client, right? So every time you take a look at invoice and it's coming from Red Rock or it's an invoice to Red Rock Diner, that can tell you that transaction has to be categorized as ano ba to? Fountains and Garden na account, right? Because based on history, right? You get what I'm saying? So ito May. So again, every time you look at an invoice that was sent to Red Rock Diner, you will categorize it as Fountains and Garden, right? That's if you refer to the prior period. Yun yung magiging basis nyo kung hindi nyo alam. And again, this is also where Google or Perplexity or AI can help you. Kasi kunyari, nagbabank transactions kayo dito, hindi nyo alam paano i-categorize. Like say for example, ito, Books by Bessie, or hindi na lang, ito, Hicks Hardware for example. Kung Hicks Hardware yan, malamang it's probably a tool, right? Tools or supplies, right? Yung vendor kasi is Hicks Hardware. So it gives you an idea. But kung hindi ka sure kung paano ba kinategorize si Hicks Hardware before, right? Then what you can do is go to QuickBooks. Usually I would do is I'll do search. Let me see if dito Hicks. Check ko si Hicks kung may mga prior transactions that involve Hicks Hardware. So tingnan ko, ang dami, 'di ba? Hicks Hardware nung June 23. Titingnan ko ngayon kung paano siyang kinategorize nung June, right? So tingnan mo, categorization niya, Hicks Hardware, miscellaneous, right? So malamang mali din to, bakit miscellaneous, right? I'll dig some more, right? Kasi hindi ako confident, hindi ako konbinsido na miscellaneous dapat sa Hicks. Tingnan ko yung July, how it was categorized. Bill ito, so let's see how it was journalized. So again, I'm just asking myself kung paano ko bang i-categorize si Hicks Hardware? Bakit ito accounts payable kasi bill? Let's look for some more Hicks. Or dito na lang. Ito Hicks. Ito expense nung July 12 naman to. Ito naman Hicks Hardware, landscaping services, plants and soil, yung kanyang categorization. So nakita niyo na yung bookkeeper who's doing it is not consistently categorizing Hicks Hardware. Kasi nung una, miscellaneous. Tapos ito naman sa July, job landscaping services under job material, and then account niya is plants and soil. Right? So hindi consistent si bookkeeper sa pagka-categorize ng transaction. Right? So that's your guide. Look at the search function nung QuickBooks, then you would know if the transaction involving a particular vendor is categorized consistently. You get what I'm saying? So I hope I was able to address your comment there, Juvie. Jess, so can it be changed po yung na-categorize na transaction na bagong na-add po? Yes, you can always change or recategorize incorrectly categorized transactions. I already shown it. Mali underspend kaya hindi income. Okay, correct, Rodel. Short-stated ang income, overstated ang expense. Yes. So every time you miscategorize transaction, particularly in an example earlier na dapat expense ay ginawang income, ang impact nun is understatement ng inong income. Right? So, tama ba? Or offsetting lang siya? Offsetting lang. Right? Kasi understated yung income, overstated naman yung expense. Right? So sa profit and loss, if you look at it, on the bottom line, walang impact. Right? Zero impact. But it is still misleading. Yung profit and loss is still misleading kasi the client will get the impression na wala siyang sales that month, right? Kasi negative. You get what I'm saying? So still, because of that mistake, the profit and loss, which is our final output as bookkeeper, is mali pa din. Yeah, so historical data, that's what you look into. And then last comment from Emma. From our example, the period is still open. That's why we still can correct the entries. How about if the period is already closed? Am I right to say that there is already a need for a journal entry in the current period in order to correct or adjust the prior period error? It's a good question, Emma. In this case, running year ka pa naman, right? So kung running year ka pa, hindi mo pa i-close yan. Unless na-close na yung year, right? So my option din naman si QuickBooks, in settings, you can actually close the books. I'm not sure where. Dito ba sa accounts and settings? Pag sinabing close na yung books, kunyari tapos na yung year 2025 and you don't want na may changes na mangyayari doon sa books, i-close mo yan as a bookkeeper, right? But just because it's closed, I don't know where to go. Let's ask our best friend, Perplexity. How to close a period in Hivyo. By the way, 4 minutes na lang pala tayo. Medyo nag-enjoy tayo dun sa pag-expound ng accounting cycle. So sign into QuickBooks, go to gear icon, go to advanced, accounting section, close the book. So advanced. So go here. All right. Wala tayong advanced na option because this is a testing environment. Kung this is an actual QuickBooks account, meron yan dito sa your company. Tapos may option dito na advanced. That's what you click. So you close the books. Again, you close the book when the period is already over. Pero usually, pag month lang naman yan, hindi mo necessary i-close yung books. Kailangan balikan mo lang yung transaction and then recategorize. Okay? Hindi mo rin kailangan mag-journal entry. Kailangan mo lang balikan again and just recategorize. Okay? Yeah. So that's how you do it, right? Balikan lang natin yung session natin. Sana nga uli ako. Mag-unshare lang ako. So I guess we can stop there. Summarize lang natin so far yung na-cover natin. So today, we talked about the accounting cycle, right? Ilan yung steps in the accounting cycle? 6, di ba? Sinong nakaka-recall? Yung recording and analyzing transactions, tama ba? Balikan nga natin sa taas. Sinong nakakaalala nung accounting cycle? Sana nga yun? Where is that?
Collect and analyze transactions.
Right. So collect the first step was collect and analyze the transaction. So in our case, yung example natin kanina, we don't have to necessarily collect the transaction because it's already fed in the bank statements through the bank's online account, right, in QuickBooks. But in cases where yung mga transactions are not in the bank statement, that's what Anna was saying, or si Anna ba yun, or si Hilda, where the client will send to you the statements through Google Drive, right? So they will scan the document and then send it to you through Google Drive, or minsan ini-email lang nila, pino-forward lang sila sa email. So that's a collection of the transaction. And then you analyze it so that you can record it correctly. And then you post it. The moment you post that, it's going to reflect into your financial statements. And sa QuickBooks, wala na tayong trial balance. Right? Wala na rin tayong adjusted trial balance because automated na siya. Every time you post, hindi nyo na kailangan mag-trial balance. Sa ano lang yan, sa mga manual na processes or sa mga highly sophisticated na accounting system, right? But in QBO, you don't have to do the trial balance, but you don't need to make adjustments though. You need to do that through journal entries, which we will show as we go along, right? But in the 6th accounting cycle, guys, pinag-aralan lang natin yan just so you have conceptual knowledge. But in real practice, we don't do that anymore. Again, I showed it to you. The moment you log into QuickBooks, meron yang bank feeds. And what you do with the bank feeds is you just make sure that you categorize it properly. And the moment that you save that, it's going to update automatically your financial statement, particularly your profit and loss statement. So that's the beauty of the automation, right? We don't need to do that, but we still need to understand what happens underneath or what happens behind the scene. You get what I'm saying? It does it make sense sa inyong mga or sa atin na mga wala pang mga background, right? And I hope that in that sense we're able to simplify things, right? Baka nga kasi at the start nung nakita nyo ay may preparation ng trial balance, tapos may adjusting entry pa, tapos may adjusted trial balance pa, 'di ba? Kaya ko ba 'yon? Kaya mo ba 'yon kung hindi ka naman accounting wala ka naman accounting background? The answer to that is yes, right? You've seen it. You just log on to QuickBooks, go to bank transactions, categorize the transaction properly, and then hit save. The moment you do that, your financial statements, it's updated. You get me? But what happens underneath that or behind the scene is what's being done automatically by QuickBooks. QuickBooks does the trial balance for you. The journal entry is done by QuickBooks for you, right? So you just hit the menus, navigate it properly so that you are able to post the transactions and update the financial statements, right? That's the wonder of the software, right? This is an accounting software that we're talking about. Making sense so far? We're good? Hindi naman nagdurugo yung ating mga brain cells on a Friday night. On a Friday night, nagtutok tayo ng grabe, no? On a Friday night, we're supposed to be in a bar, in a club, or, whatever we want to do on a Friday night. But here we are, talking about chart of accounts, talking about the steps of the accounting cycle for 2 hours. But why do you do it? Why are you here? Why is it that 119 of us is in this room? Because we want to earn dollars, right? We want to have our freedom. We want to be borderless, right? And so if you're here, congratulations. And tuloy-tuloy lang tayo, okay? If today was madugo, it's okay. That's why we also have recorded sessions so that pwede niyong balikan. Kasi hindi naman lahat agad magsisink in sa inyo, right? It's given. Hindi naman tayo genius, right? Hindi naman lahat yan magsisink in agad. But it's okay. Just do not stop. Right? Do not stop. Everything will make sense as you go along. Minsan, at the very instance, hindi mo maintindihan agad. But the more that you continue, now you're able to connect the dots, right? Kaya pala, may mga aha moments ka na, right? But the moment you stop, wala na. Nasayang na yung 2 hours mo today. Pag hindi ka na bumalik tomorrow. You get what I'm saying? So, what I'm saying is, tuloy-tuloy lang tayo. And then, if we are already experienced bookkeepers, accountants, and whatnot, I hope you still continue to join because like what Anna did, Alma did, Hilda did, they provide context, right? They're able to provide context based on their information or based on their experience, right? And it helps a lot of us, right? Na nalaman natin na 650, pwede pala tayong mag-earn ng $650 for one client kasi nangyari kay Hilda, right? You get what I'm saying? So again, tuloy-tuloy lang tayo. I know we're a little bit over time today, but hopefully we still see each other tomorrow, and then recorded sessions, guys, will be posted on our our YouTube channel. So if you're here and you have not subscribed yet, please do so. If you do so, whenever we upload, you get notified. Okay? And please don't forget to share as well. And last reminder, tomorrow, 8 p.m., we will have a guest speaker from LinkedIn. But we start at 7 tomorrow, right? We start at 7 to have 1 hour session on our QuickBooks lesson. And then at 8, we stop to accommodate Nima. And then please prepare your answer or your questions for Nima, okay? Okay, so I guess we're good for today. Again, I want to thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you guys again the same time tomorrow. You guys have a great evening.
Meet our free US bookkeeping course brought to you by the Borderless Accountants. We are inviting you to join our community. Live training, reputable tax firms as resource speakers, recorded, replayable at higit sa lahat, libre. To join, like and follow our official Facebook page, join our Facebook group for important updates, and fill out our Google form to be included in our mailing list. See you there!